Good morning, everyone. My name is Nika, together with Sir Raymark Sapin and Sir Caleb Lapiguera. And today we are going to discuss online professionalisms. But before we start, let me state our objectives. The first one is to understand the legal and ethical professional requirements placed upon teachers. The second is to develop conceptual understanding of professional identity in online spaces. And the third is to identify problematic behaviors. And the fourth one is to analytically deconstruct realistic teacher scenarios to determine when mistakes were made. When we say professional behaviors, it includes the duty to act with diligence, right? And it also implies obligations such as confidentiality and honesty. So, as a professional, kailangan you have to act professional since you are a professional teacher, right? So, hindi lang kailangan in real life is professional ka. Kailangan din in online world is professional ka makitungo or professional ka sa lahat ng mga ginagawa mo. And to begin, professional behavior abides to the following laws. First is yung national laws, state laws, district policies, and institutional policies. Let's begin with the legal and professional standards. According to the Republic Act number 7836, so this act is to strengthen, pinagtitibay daw nitong act na to, yung regulation and supervision na ang lahat ng mga magtuturo ay kailangang nakapag-take ng licensure examination for professional teachers. So, gaya nga ng mga last discussion natin na kailangan ang teacher bago magturo is professional or nakapag-take siya ng licensure examination. So, ano nga ba yung nakapaloob dito sa Section 23? Ano nga ba yung ibig ipahiwatig sa atin ng Section 23? So, board shall have the power to suspend or revoke the certificate of registration of any registrant. The first one is yung conviction of any criminal offense. Siyempre, as a professional teacher, maso-suspend ang iyong permit kapag ikaw ay nag-commit ng any criminal offenses. Second is kapag unprofessional ka or ikaw ay isang immoral or nag-commit ka ng immoral conduct. And yung third is declaration by court of competent jurisdiction for being mentally insane. So as a teacher, kapag nakitaan ka nila na you are not mentally stable, maaari din nilang i-revoke or i-cancel yung permit mo. And yung number 4 naman is yung malpractice, gross incompetence, or gross negligence. So dito naman yung malpractice, ito yung mga improper professional activity or treatment. So dito, kapag ikaw ay nag-plagiarize or nag-fabricate. So as a teacher, we should not plagiarize. Bawal natin gawin yung pagpa-plagiarize. And yung susunod is yung chronic inebriety of habitual use of drug. As a professional teachers or sabi nga sa Code of Ethics, teachers shall not promote illegal drugs. So, you are subject to termination kapag ikaw ay nahulihan ng ganon. And then, yung last is yung failure to attend seminars. Sa failure to attend seminars, kailangan uma-attend ka dito ng mga seminars, workshop, or conference. Ito yung mga educational programs. Kailangan uma-attend ka dahil sa bawat pag-attend mo nito, meron kang may ipon na units. And ang kailangan maipon na units ng isang teacher within the span of 3 years is 45 units. Yun yung CPD or yung Continuing Professional Development Units. Ano nga ba yung mangyayari sa'yo kapag hindi ka naka-earn ng 45 units within the span of 3 years? So, if you do not comply, then you will be permitted or you will not be permitted to renew your license. So, kapag hindi ka nakapag-ipon or nakapag-earn ng 45 units ng CPD, your license will not be renewed.
Good day everyone, this is Sir Raymark Sapin and I will be your instructor for this time. Moral turpitude. Parents are trusting us with the most precious thing in their life, which would be their kid or our future students. And so, they want someone who has good values and good morals. The K-12 Educational Technology Handbook 343 includes what are called moral turpitude. A moral turpitude basically means that anything else that you might do that the community thinks is wrong. So, as a teacher or future teacher, we should not post anything on our social media platform because many people, especially parents, can see your post and they will think that you are not moral enough teacher for their kids, which is our future students. So, let us remember that moral turpitude can apply to just about everything in a teacher's life and including the electronic media. Fairness. I do think that there is a difference in what people perceive teachers to be in comparison to other professionals. And I do feel like it's unrealistic in some regards. Is this fair? Is this respectful of teachers as professionals? Maybe and maybe not. Either way, teaching contracts give a school a good standing for making the case that even though you may not acting illegally, they can fire you or discipline you for your behavior. Electronic media makes the line fuzzy between what is private and what is public. What happened on the school ground and what is happened outside the school. The K-12 Educational Technology Handbook 346 tells us that certain way to fulfill your job or duties, then those same expectation might apply to you in online spaces, especially if the students or parents or any colleagues can see what you are doing and what you are posting, even though it is not your even though it is not your intention. For example, there are many cases that a teacher posted a status on her social media about the relationship with his boyfriend and that he broke with him and all his her salary he gave it to his boyfriend. In this case, even though the teacher did not intentionally release the feelings she feels, she is still accountable for the content she created. And especially when other screenshot it or repost it so that it can create troubles with her ex-boyfriend. So as a teacher, we should not post anything and we should be careful. And that is the meaning of fairness. Teacher versus student teachers. We knew that we were getting into, and we knew that we were going to be a future teacher or a role model. So we knew we were going to have a very high standard. The K-12 Educational Technology Handbook 347 tells that are student teachers held to the same standards as full-time teachers? Yes, of course. Student teachers are generally treated like teachers, except that they don't have the employment contracts with the schools where they work or where they practice, and they are not treated as competent professionals. So they actually have to be more careful about the things they do. It reminds us that we should be more careful about what we do, especially in doing online, in doing our or in using our social media platforms or our media. This means that student teachers are expected to comply with the national requirement just like a full-time teachers. But they are also expected to receive written permission from mentor teacher before communicating with the students via electronic media. So it means that as a teacher, we should have a permission for us to communicate with our practice teaching students so that we can communicate them if we have something to tell about our topic.
Now let's go to risky behaviors. Let's read it first. Because children are so naturally inclined to follow examples, would I want my son's teacher to have pictures of her drinking on Facebook? Of course not. So I kinda understand why there's so much pressure on us not to post those things. I think that with the other professions there is less of that pressure because you are not working with their kids. It's not like they are entrusting their child to you for 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, says Penelope. So, electronic media, includes but is not limited to text messages, instant messages, emails, blogs, forums, chat rooms, video sharing services, editorial comments, social networking sites, telephones, cell phones, and web-based applications. Electronic media is a platform where risky behavior can happen. So, let's go to the examples. A 5th grade teacher in New York is awaiting termination hearings after she privately said on Facebook that she hates her students' guts. So, these are the consequences, maybe, of the risky behaviors. Massachusetts biology teacher lost her job of calling her students germ bags and local residents arrogant and snobby on Facebook. So, if you want to read the rest, you can post the video and you can read the consequences of the behaviors of the teachers that is risky. So, let's go to the next scenario. First scenario. Miss Apple taught junior high school one day. Sally's student came into her classroom visibly upset. Sally had a difficult home situation. Miss Apple gave the student a hug and listened to Sally. Sally felt validated. So, as you can see, they are being attached. Over the next several months, Sally repeatedly went to Mrs. Apple for advice and comfort. Mrs. Apple gave Sally her phone number and told her she could call if she needed to talk. Mrs. Apple and Sally frequently talk on the phone and exchange numerous of text messages. One day, Sally's father discovered the messages on Sally's phone. He met with Mrs. Apple and asked her to stop communicating with his daughter. Mrs. Apple stopped calling Sally, but Miss Apple felt that Sally still needed her support. So, she communicated with her over social media. She also met with Sally outside of school to give her gifts, such as clothes and art supplies. On the first scenario, it is subtle if it is a risky behavior, but their relationship can be a risky behavior depending on what they are doing. So, this is the scenario 3. These are the risky behaviors we can encounter, but we should avoid that as a teacher. To avoid that, those kind of things, we have these best principles. Number 1, draw clear lines between personal and professional social media use. If you have personal and you can't make it safe, or you can't make your personal as your professional, you should draw lines between personal and professional social medias. In personal, maybe you are kind of drinking some drinks, wines, or beers. You can't do that on social media on being professional. So draw lines and separate the two, and don't let your students see your personal, because it's personal. Number 2, never post anything anywhere that you would be uncomfortable with your students or their parents seeing, or that you would mind being featured on the nightly news. Don't post anything if you're not comfortable with that. And if you're not comfortable seeing you by the parents, because if it's like common sense, if you don't want to be uncomfortable, then do not post. If you think you would be at risk, don't post. So number 3, be critical of yourself. As I have said a while ago, be critical, be sensitive, evaluate your online persona, conducting searches on yourself. Always check your social media account. And last, number 4, realize that posts to social media are never completely private. When you post some information about yourself in social media, even if it says that it is private, it is only you who can see that. The fact that you post it, you input it in social media, it is never private. It is never private na, because you post it in social media. So we should be careful on doing things on social media, because we are teachers. We should be examples. So let me ask you, after discussing that, do you think you are ready to present yourself as a teacher in the online world? It is a question, and answer it to yourself and make yourself ready to present yourself as a teacher in the online world. So that's all my part, and let's go to the conclusion.
Before our conclusion, I want to leave a simple question, and I want you to answer this on a sheet of paper, and you will pass this one when we meet on face to face. So this is my question. Do you think you are ready to present yourself as a teacher in the online world? What do you think? So I will wait for your answer. Online professionalism simply tells us that we, as a future teachers, we should be more careful in using different media platforms. Lalo na pag nakikita ito ng mga publiko. As a teacher, magiging role model tayo sa ating mga estudyante. And hindi natin gusto na nakikita nila tayo sa social media na ganito tayo, different tayo sa pagtuturo natin. Kumbaga, kung ano yung nakikita nila sa social media, yun yung nagre-reflect sa'yo bilang tao. Lalo na pag nakita ito ng mga magulang, kasi yung mga magulang yun yung first basis nila para makilala ka nila as a teacher. Therefore, pag may nakita silang mali sa'yo on social media, sasabihin nila na you're not good enough teacher para maging teacher ng anak nila, and mawawalan sila ng trust sa iyo. And kaya naman, bilang teacher, maging careful tayo, maging professional tayo in using our online media, different social media platforms. Nang sa ganun is, maging maganda yung background natin sa mga students natin in the future. Kung meron man tayong mga post before na hindi kaaya-aya, ngayon pa lang burahin na natin siya. And let's always remember that think before you click. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat.